We all know Cartoon Network. We grew up on it. We always waited for Saturday mornings to come for new episodes to arrive. Me personally, I loved Cartoon Network growing up because it always had a variety of shows that I would love watching. But lately, around 2023 or 2024, 3 shows were considered the big 3 of Cartoon Network. Those shows being Adventure Time, Amazing World of Gumball, and Regular Show. And it would be agreed upon that these 3 shows were the big 3. It was no debate. But me personally, I don't think these 3 shows are the big 3 of Cartoon Network. Now, I've seen a lot of Cartoon Network shows, like very popular Cartoon Network shows, like from when I was growing up to when I got older. And I gotta say, these 3 shows are top 10 at best. When I think of the big 3 of Cartoon Network, I think of the shows that made the network popular. And don't get me wrong, these 3 shows are amazing. I grew up on these 3 shows, but I don't see them as the big 3. That's why today in this video, I will be talking about what I consider the big 3 of Cartoon Network. So, that all being said, make sure to follow my socials in the link in the description below. I'm telling you now, so I won't have to tell you at the end of the video. And let's get on with what I consider the real big 3 of Cartoon Network. Now, the first show that I consider the big 3 of Cartoon Network is most definitely Dexter's Laboratory. Now, you may be thinking I'm crazy for saying this, but if Dexter's Laboratory didn't exist, Cartoon Network wouldn't be what it is today in both popularity and with the shows it makes. You see, Dexter's Laboratory debuted on a show called What a Cartoon, where animators get to make a pilot of a show so that it can get turned into a series of its own. And Dexter appeared on that. Its pilot was filled with so much imagination and creativity that it got turned into its own show and aired its first episode all the way back in 1996. But even if it released in that time frame, a lot of people still remember a lot of things about the show, like Mandog's lab, Dee Dee breaking into Dexter's lab saying, "What does this button do?" Dexter's personality as a whole, Ollie do fromage, Dexter's mom. Not only that, but this show breathed creativity, which would be the identity of Cartoon Network. I mean, you got giant robots, time traveling. When your protagonist is a boy genius, you expect to get creative on some level. This show would truly form the identity of what Cartoon Network is and its cartoons going forward. But not only did it create legendary cartoons, it also started the career of many animation legends, like Craig McCracken, who was the creator of Powerpuff Girls, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, and Wander Over Yonder. Paul Rudish, who was the creator of the Mickey Mouse shorts in 2013. And Rob Renzetti, who was the creator of My Life of a Teenage Robot. Not to mention, Dexter's Laboratory made its creator, Genndy Tartakovsky, an animation legend, because he would go on to create Samurai Jack, be the animation director for Hotel Transylvania, and create a show named Primal. So yeah, I would consider Dexter to be a part of the big 3 of Cartoon Network. Now, this next show that I would consider to be a part of the big 3 of Cartoon Network, I don't know if this is going to be seen as a hot take, but it probably is to most people. The second cartoon I would consider to be a part of the big 3 of Cartoon Network is Ed, Edd, and Eddy. Now hear me out. Just hear me out. I have a reason as to why I have Ed, Edd, and Eddy in the big 3 of Cartoon Network. And that reason, well, I have 3 reasons as to why it's in here. Those reasons being popularity, longevity, and comedy. Now, I'm going to talk about these 3 things, but not in order, so let's talk about its longevity. Before Teen Titans Go ever aired in 2013, Ed, Edd, and Eddy was the longest Cartoon Network show on the network, spanning over 10 years. That's from 1999 all the way to 2009. And if you want perspective on how long that is, this is a timeline of every show that began and ended when Ed, Edd, and Eddy was airing. So It's safe to say that Ed, Edd and Eddy did have longevity to it. But in order to talk about that longevity more, we have to talk about its comedy. When it comes to the comedy of Ed, Edd and Eddy, it is the most cartoon you will ever see in your life. What I mean by this is, if you took Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry, and the old Mickey Mouse shorts, take their logic and add in a few dirty jokes, you got Ed, Edd and Eddy. Like, the jokes in this show were so good because they had such a variety of jokes. They had slapstick, they had well-timed jokes, they had character-specific jokes. They had times where they took a meaningless phrase and made it literal, and the non-subtle, dirty jokes. And honestly, I think the comedy bleeds in to its popularity, because this show's comedy was so good that its popularity skyrocketed, causing it to have 130 episodes, 4 specials, and a movie. And to be honest, I feel like that's what made this show very timeless to so many people, because you got people making fan art even though it ended a long time ago, and making so many quotable lines of the show. Like, I reference "You Bet Your Sweet Bippy I Did" on a daily basis. So that's why I have Ed, Edd and Eddy at number 2 of the Big 3 of Cartoon Network. Mainly because of how timeless it is, because of its animation, and its jokes, and its writing. Now, this next Cartoon Network show, I consider to be a part of the Big 3, and I'm surprised nobody has defended this show to be a part of the Big 3. Like, at all. The next show, and the final show that I consider to be the Big 3 of Cartoon Network, is Ben 10. I don't think I need to talk about the popularity of Ben 10. Everybody knows what Ben 10 is. Even kids who haven't even seen Ben 10 knows who Ben 10 is. I should know. I was one of those kids. Like, as you see currently, I'm wearing a watch. Ever since the 2nd grade, I've always worn a watch on my left wrist. And from 2nd grade all the way to when I graduated high school, I have always heard people come up to me and tell me, "Yo, you're wearing the Ben 10 watch. You're wearing the Ben 10 watch." And I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, it happens every single time. And it wasn't even from kids in my 2nd grade class. It also happened with kids in my high school class. Like, yo, this show had 4 series that were connected to each other, live action movies, it was a merchandise juggernaut, and a reboot nobody likes talking about. Like, this show has popularity and longevity to its name. Not to mention the writing in this show. The writing in the show really takes you on a journey with these characters. It shows you the progression of these characters as well. It shows you the things about their world, the responsibilities they take, the struggles both within themselves and the world around them improving their skills more and more. Like, the series goes from a kid who's immature and knows nothing about being a hero to being the hero of an entire universe. And yes, I do know that there are a lot of plot holes and character inconsistencies with the show, but I feel like that shouldn't diminish how good of a show Ben 10 actually was. And to be honest, I'm surprised nobody decided to put it in the Big 3 of Cartoon Network. And this is coming from someone who didn't watch the series until 2023. So yeah, those are the 3 shows that I consider to be the Big 3 of Cartoon Network. Dexter's Laboratory, Ed, Edd and Eddy, and Ben 10. Now, some of you may disagree with me on this and say that, oh, Powerpuff Girls, Kids Next Door, Chowder, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, all the other stuff should be in the Big 3 Cartoon Network. And honestly, that's up to you. Tell me in the comments what you think is the Big 3 of Cartoon Network. I would love to see all of your responses. And with that being said, that's it for this video. I'll see you guys next time.